Good afternoon, Sage here reporting live from the 𝐊𝐴𝐚 studios, and it's lunchtime here in Sydney and time for the Mid-Market Pulse. And in today's show we'll take a look at the overall Australian share market's performance by the mid-session trade. And we'll also explore the biggest winners and losers of the day, such as Cochlear, Perseus Mining, Silver Lake, Computershare, Woodside and others. And lastly, in our final segment, we'll focus on stocks such as Cenex Energy, Sigma, Vita, Rex Minerals, State Gas and many more that have grabbed the headlines today. So what are we waiting for? Let's get started. And the Australian shares were trading in the red by the afternoon amid a sell-off in realty, healthcare and the material stocks, and the lingering concerns about the Chinese developer Evergrande's ability to pay its debts, as well as fresh rise in the COVID-19 cases in Victoria, has kept the investors sidelined. However, strong gains in the energy stocks owing to higher crude prices as well as firm global cues helped the market to cap losses. And the benchmark index was trading 0.21% lower by lunch, and the index opened flat today and slipped in the negative in the early deals to decline as much as 2.6%. The market failed to capitalise strong cues from Wall Street, which extended the rally for the second day as investors cheered the Federal Reserve's bullish economic outlook. The S&P 500 jumped 1.2%, while the Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 1.5%. The Nasdaq Composite ended 1% higher. And moving on to the sectoral front, 8 of the 11 indices were trading in the red zone. The AREITs was the worst performer with a 1.4% loss, followed by 0.8% fall in healthcare sector. And among others, materials, consumer staples, consumer discretionary, telecoms and industrials also reeled under the selling pressure. On the flip side, the energy sector gained over 1% following a rise in the crude prices. It was followed by financials and utilities, which also edged higher with modest gains. On the COVID-19 front, New South Wales reported 1,043 new locally acquired coronavirus cases and 11 deaths in the past 24 hours. And Victoria continued to see surges in the case tally, with the daily infections rising to 733. It dropped marginally after a record high tally of 766 new local infections on Thursday. In our next segment, let's focus on the top gainers and losers by the mid-session trade. And the top loser on the ASX pack was Australian-based real estate investment trust Centuria Industrial Reit, with a 6% loss. And some of the other worst performers were healthcare group Cochlear, toll road operator Atlas Arteria and gold miner Perseus Mining, as well as Silver Lake Resources. On the gaining side, the Australian stock transfer company Computershare topped the gainers chart by rising 4.5%. And some of the other top gainers were English bank Virgin Money UK, retailer Premier Investment, energy giant Woodside Petroleum and infection prevention company Nanosonics. On this note, let's move on now to the stocks that grabbed the headlines today. Firstly, energy firm Cenex Energy traded marginally lower after signing a new gas sales agreement with 29 Metals Capricorn copper mine. The company will supply around 2.5 petajoules of natural gas over 3 years to the Capricorn copper mine, owned by Australian resources company 29 Metals. And thanks for joining us thus far, but it's now time for a short break. Please stay tuned on 𝐊𝐴𝐚 TV. I'll be back with more of the trending updates. Hi, I'm Sage, and get ready to take the crypto ride with me on 𝐊𝐴𝐚 TV. Watch the Crypto Buzz every Tuesday and join the excitement at 𝐊𝐴𝐚 TV. From Bitcoins to NFTs to Dogecoin and DeFi, we have updates about everything around these digital currencies. Understand the investing rationale and the risks involved in the space with me, Sage, on Crypto Buzz. Keep watching 𝐊𝐴𝐚 TV. Welcome back. Thanks so much for joining us. Sage here live from Sydney. You're watching the mid-market commentary by 𝐊𝐴𝐚 TV. Let us look at some more of those stocks that grabbed the market's attention today. Sigma healthcare shares were down nearly 1%, Following an update about the new CEO, and the company has appointed Vikesh Ramsunder as the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the company. And also making the news, Vita Group shares dropped over 1% on signing a deal to sell its retail information and communications technology business to Telstra. Subject to a requisite approval, the proposed transaction includes sale of all of Vita Telstra's branded retail stores and the Sprout business for cash consideration of 110 million Australian dollars. And moving on to the next, shares of Kairos Minerals traded 7% higher after it updated about new targets at its 100% owned Mount York project in Western Australia. The company has completed first-stage geochemistry sampling programs at Mount York project and identified several new high-priority targets for drill testing. And next up we have Rex Minerals, whose shares traded flat after it qualified to trade on the OTCQB venture market in the United States. And the OTCQB is the mid-tier OTC equity markets, which lists primarily early-stage and developing companies in the US. And REX upgraded to OTCQB from the pink market, which is an important step for companies seeking to provide transparent trading for their US investors. And to qualify for OTCQB, companies must meet high financial standards, follow best practice corporate governance and demonstrate compliance with applicable securities laws. And meanwhile, the iron ore producer FE Limited shares traded 13% lower despite receiving commitments to raise $5 million through placements. And the miner will issue 100 million ordinary shares to sophisticated investors at 5 cents per share. Let's take a look at the next. Real estate investment firm Axiom Properties jumped 12.5% on signing an agreement to sell its Butler Central Homemaker Centre in Perth to the Lester Group, a Western Australian firm. The company has granted a period of 45 days for due diligence. And also worth taking a look at, State Gas fell 1.4% despite completing an $8 million Australian dollar placement at 32 cents per share. The offer received strong interest and was supported by a number of Australian institutional and sophisticated investors in the energy sector. The placement price of 32 cents represents a 15.8% discount to the last closing price. And GAS will issue 25 million new shares to accept new capital of 8 million Australian dollars, which will rank equally with existing ordinary shares from the date of issue. The company is currently preparing for the next phase of work at its 100% owned Rogemont and Reed's Dome gas projects in central Queensland. And the last news in the show today is coming in from real estate investment trust Apn Industrial Reit, whose shares dropped nearly 7% following updates on fundraising. And the company said it has successfully completed institutional placement and entitlement offer components of the capital raised plan. And the company raised 100 million Australian dollars from institutional placements, which is part of the 350 million Australian dollar equity raising program. And the new securities will be issued at a fixed issue price of $3.45 Australian per share. The proceeds from the placement and the institutional entitlement offer will be used to partially fund the acquisition of interests in a portfolio of 51 industrial properties and development opportunities. And thanks for joining us, but that's a wrap in the show. Keep watching 𝐊𝐿𝐴N TV for more trending market updates from Australia and around the world. Sage signing off.